Hi everyone. In this video we are going to discuss the contention that the Bible seems to claim that iron was known about before the flood, whatever that was. But then its knowledge was forgotten after the flood. Now, this appears to reverse conventional wisdom about a progression from Stone Age to copper to bronze and then to iron. Was there a great civilization whose advanced knowledge was forgotten before our Stone Age? There is also a possibility that this iron, according to ancient sources available in very ancient times, was in the hands of the fabled giant race of humans. Let's get to it. Was there once a great civilization of technologically advanced peoples? The Bible would seem to suggest this, but the clues are cryptic. An iron artifact was in fact found inside the Great Pyramid. The luminary Isaac Newton himself had great respect for ancient texts. The texts revealed to him that the Great Pyramid was a scale model of the dimensions of the earth. He realized, perhaps correctly, that a people who put so much effort and accuracy into the pyramid must have also had the exact dimensions of the earth. He attempted to use this information to find what he called the gravitational constant. He only failed to do so because of the destruction that had occurred at the pyramid over thousands of years. This altered the pyramid measurements available to him. There are many clues other than the Great Pyramid of the existence of a former superior civilization. One clue comes to us from the Atlantis legend, in which the high priest of Sait, Egypt, tells the Athenian ambassador a strange story. He claimed that Egyptian history once recorded the rise and complete collapse and destruction of surrounding civilizations over a period of 9,000 years. The priest claimed that only the Egyptian records retained the information of civilizations long forgotten by surrounding peoples, including one which was very great and which preceded classical Greece. The priest claimed there was some orbital catastrophe which led to Atlantis sinking beneath the waves. This ended a world war, as all the competing armies were destroyed as well. He said, "You Greeks are but children and do not know of the civilization which preceded you." For millennia, cynics with a limited ability to understand what they are reading have rubbished the Atlantis story and claimed it is something else, such as an allegory. But how to explain away the enormous stones underneath all classical Greek structures, such as at Delphi? Is this evidence of a former great civilization lost to history? These stones show that the Egyptian priest was possibly indeed telling the truth, and Plato did not invent his story. There were great civilizations now completely forgotten. Another clue of the destruction that followed some catastrophe and the loss of scientific information comes from the Bible. In particular, the Bible mentions a chap called Tubal-Cain. He is also written as Tubal-Cain in the Latin Vulgate, and you don't hear about him much. Tubal-Cain was the first blacksmith, but he was also a scientist and a chemist. He has in fact been called the world's first chemist. In Antiquities of the Jews, the amazing historian Josephus writes, "Tubal exceeded all men in strength, and was very expert and famous in martial performances, and first of all invented the art of working brass." In stating he exceeded everyone in strength, it seems like Josephus is possibly saying Tubal was a giant. Was he of the race of giants which once inhabited the earth? In Genesis is the following. Tubal-Cain was a forger of all instruments of bronze and iron. In analysing the name, Tubal also seems like a Bible version of Egyptian Thoth, who also was a kind of god of knowledge. And Cain, well, after what he did with his brother, I suppose the striking action reminds one of what a blacksmith does. But who knows where this name really comes from? So why is any of this important? Well, the problem is the book of Genesis mentions iron before the flood occurs. In other words, before the great catastrophe which smote the Tower of Babel and caused other problems, destroying all of humanity. The implications are iron was known about in very early times but then forgotten. This conclusion was arrived at by archaeologists in the 1700s and 1800s, trying to piece together the sequence of man's progression. When they excavated dolmens and hunebedden, or literally giant beds in Holland, they found stone and bone and copper. They expected to find iron because Tubal-Cain had iron before the flood. So they weren't quite sure what was going on. In the opinion of the scholar Van Leer in the 1700s, Noah's Ark could not have been built without iron, but it seems to have been forgotten in the Bible after the flood. If iron was known about, why didn't the whole world use it? Van Leer said, well, its use must have been prevented among certain peoples by tyrannical despots. In other words, a wider implication might be that some catastrophe wiped out knowledge, including iron, which, according to the Bible, was known of in the time of Genesis, soon after the creation of earth. Guys, if you enjoyed this new insight, consider helping out on Patreon. The link is below. Of course, there is a lot more information about the lost civilization in books which have never made it into our Bible, so I recommend consulting those. I write about some of this in my book, Confessions of the Gods. Check it out on Amazon. Cheers and have a good day.